And the good news is that Buster Posey is just a terrific ambassador for the San Francisco Bay Area region. You just what?
I don't know what. Fillmore Mike opened my eyes. He called Willard and Dibbs on. We'll get to that, but thank God for the Niners.
You ain't kidding. No, you ain't kidding.
Yeah.
So I went down the street to my guy's place yesterday, Kenny, Grand Oaks Tavern in Oakland. Just walked down the street. And he said, I walked in, and by the way,
you can do a podcast on venues.
Nice little crowd there. Raider fans first, and then they left, and we started watching the Warriors. And my guy Kenny, who owns the bar, says, "Hey Matt, you think we're going to make the playoffs?" I said, "I don't know." He goes,
"Talking about the Warriors."
The Warriors, yeah. I said, "Well, I don't know. Why? Like maybe." He goes, "Because I need, because if they make the playoffs, that makes my." May better. April, May.
Okay.
7, the Warriors played 12 playoff games.
Yeah.
So that's 12 crowded bar nights.
Oh, I bet.
And he said,
business. Good God.
Steiny, are we going to make the playoffs this year? And I said, Kenny, I'm not worried just about this year anymore. And I don't think you should either.
Well, we're not giving up.
I said, Kenny, I'm worried about the next 3 years.
But you can do that, but still the focus is this year.
I'm worried about the next 3 years.
No, I feel you. Yeah. What most?
That Kenny's bar is going to suffer.
All right, that's one.
Because not everybody's going to go watch the Warriors like they did 8 years ago.
Well, Dub Nation, hold on. It was a great time out on line one.
Yeah.
People came. People never left. But what worries you the most about the construct of this team? Because right now I'm not 10-14. A loss last night. Did the Clippers even miss Paul George? It didn't seem like it, but the Warriors kept it close. But damn, when you have standards like the Golden State Warriors, Steiny, telling you and Evan and the listeners keeping it close, that's not a moral victory for me.
No, not at all.
Glass half full for Kenny, though. People are going to need a place to drink the next 3 years.
What? Give you 2.
1.5. Poor Kenny. You love those glasses, don't you?
Yeah. Who was coaching last night, Kerr or Atkinson?
Atkinson, definitely.
Dude, he was
coaching.
talking. I was like, what? And you text to find. I go, he ain't got a technical.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
That was odd. I was like, Kerr letting him get some run.
Yeah. All right, let me start here. I feel like we've been on 10. Buster Posey said this earlier this week, and I came in today when the boss was like, "Can you, what do you think?"
Yeah.
Everybody is kind of up in arms about it. But let me here's the quote. You ready? Here's what Buster Posey said, Goo, and you just react.
All right. I'm right here
then
for
we'll
you.
just have a conversation. Yeah. Buster Posey, this is in the wake of not getting Shohei Ohtani. Buster Posey, something I think is noteworthy, something that unfortunately keeps popping up from players and even the players' wives, is there's a bit of uneasiness with the city itself as far as the state of the city with crime and drugs, Posey said. Whether that's all completely fair or not, perception is reality. It's a frustrating cycle, I think, and not just with baseball. Baseball is secondary to life and the important things in life. But as far as a free agent pursuit goes, I have seen that it does affect things. So the boss, he's like, you can't say that.
Right.
Why? Why not?
Because, go ahead.
No, he's just telling the truth, right? He's telling the truth that San Francisco's got a perception problem. Would you acknowledge that?
So does every major city in the United States. New York, Los Angeles. I think it's a cop-out. And let me tell you why I think it's a cop-out. One, you hadn't been living here. Two, no, Fillmore, Michael, that was a real call. Okay, hold on, Steiny. And then 2, Bonte Hills of the world, Joe Shasky's. Everybody was talking about the shining light that is Buster Posey. If he were in on these negotiations because he's such an ambassador for the Giants, and now we find out he's in. He's in the room. But you know what? Put the coffee down too, Buster, because you didn't help close. So when you come out and say what you could actually say about Los Angeles. Have you looked at the crime rate out there and what's going on out there? Look at New York. My point is, you shouldn't have said that out loud, because to me it comes off as not sour grapes, a reason that this team and this ownership group cannot close a deal. That, to me, was foul. Because if you want to get the nitty-gritty, I keep going to L.A. and New York. We can keep going. Every major city in the United States right now has issues. Am I telling you I don't walk to the parking lot and see boo-boo on the ground and cry? Yes, but that's every city. Don't tell me that's 90% of the decision from these athletes. It just came off as an excuse.
Yeah, I'm not.
LA is popping on and popping, just worse than San Francisco if you want to get technical. And you can live in Walnut Creek where there's less crime. You can live in San Ramon. You can live in Burlington. Come on, Belmont. You can go there. You don't just have to be in San Francisco. You play ball there. But come on, Buster. You're telling us that's why you didn't land the big fish.
That's not what he said.
And I said this to you and Evan. I was in sales, and Steiny, when the salesmen, the ones that didn't hit their quota, would say, the leads are bad. But the guys that were going above their quota, they had no problem with the leads. And that's what this sounds like when Buster's L.A. had no problem landing Ohtani. It's gangs out there. It's crime.
No, but it's not that San Francisco is better than L.A. or L.A.'s better or this has more. The perception that's out there is San Francisco's worse than those other places. That's the perception. Whether it's true or not is a different issue. The perception is, you know what, San Francisco's a little worse off than these other cities. And all Posey's saying is, you know, there's a perception out there that we're worse than other cities, and that's not true. And I'm just telling you, though, that we have to deal with that.
That's real.
Because...
Well, don't take a meeting then, Buster.
What do you mean?
Farhan, don't take a meeting then if that's how you feel.
What do you mean?
If you feel that perception is reality, and it's your prerogative to feel that way, and the city is just a dump, don't take a meeting with a free agent then.
You didn't say dump.
But that's what I'm saying, Steiny. When you say stuff like that, that's what you're subliminally saying to people that know how to break down math. You can't just say, oh, so you'll never, what he's greasing
I agree with him
for.
That the perception of San Francisco as a city, I agree with him that the perception of San Francisco is that it's worse of a city than L.A. or New York. Okay. Right now, it feels like that's the perception.
Right. So you feel how you feel, partner. All I'm telling you. Do you feel that way?
You have to feel that way.
Listen, Steiny, because I had a boss named Jack Cunningham, and I know you guys don't care about my work life. His favorite phrase was perception is reality. I hate it, but I do understand it. My point is, when you say that, now you got a built-in excuse every time you're going to court a free agent. So when I hear that coming from the higher-ups, and Farhan, we came at his dome when he said it a year ago. Remember he said it? He said it in a different way, but the bottom line is, that's a built-in excuse, Steiny, that you're going to come in third place now because of the perception. So I'm saying don't even go and take a meeting then.
I came in today, read the quote, read it again, and I keep hearing, you can't say that. Why?
No, you can say it.
Why? It's his truth. What he's telling you, like, I'm going to tell you something. Yesterday, get out of the office at 3 o'clock, and I'm walking around the city.
2:30.
I swear to God, I'm walking down the city. I'm going to go meet my buddy. I'm like, you know what? This city's pretty cool. Yeah, I like this city. It's pretty cool, man. You know, it's pretty cool. So, like, I'm not a San Francisco hater at all, but I can't disagree with Posey about that there's a perception about San Francisco that's not fair. I agree with that there's a perception about San Francisco that's not fair.
Let's put it right on the table.
That's all he's saying.
Is there a racial component to this? Because last I looked, we've never heard a Golden State Warriors say they got a problem with the surrounding or the greater Bay Area. Last I looked, the 49ers are okay. I'm just like, why is this specifically, why are we hearing it from a sport or a team that's dominated by white guys? I'm asking, like, is that fair? Is there something there?
I actually had not considered that. I didn't think of that component at all, and maybe that's a shortcoming by me.
Quietly, like, I mean, the Warriors haven't really been able to court a big-time free agent outside of Durant. I mean, he's the one that makes everything good, but before him, I mean, what was the last big-name person that came to the Warriors, you know?
Well, I guess I was talking to Evan more about the guys that are already here, and if the city's going, and look, I'm not here to tell you the city, I'm here every day just like you, doesn't have its problems, but if it was as bad as they're saying it is, I think we'd hear guys that are here like speaking up about how, you know, the city's eroding. And I don't believe it to be on a pace that fast or that rapid.
888-957-9570 is the number. We're just talking about what Buster Posey said. I want to read it again.
Yeah.
Something I think that is noteworthy and something that unfortunately keeps popping up from players and players' wives. All right. So that's true, right? He's telling you that I hear from I talk to a lot of players, and they say, what's going on with San Francisco, Buster? I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to play there. He says there's uneasiness. Do you believe Buster Posey when he says there may be uneasiness with certain players wanting to play in San Francisco because of the perception?
I believe he believes that. And
well, I'm asking, but do you believe it? Do you believe Posey's telling the truth?
Yeah, I believe he believes
that. I do too. Okay. So the only way to turn that around is to say, you know, we got a bad rep here. It ain't right. Like, what? I don't understand what's wrong with Posey saying.
So it takes him convincing.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. It's going to take years of people saying, you know what? This city's great. It's as great as it's ever been, if it is. And you go with it. But
you got to have an advocate for the city that doesn't believe that, to not sway somebody, but show them that it's deeper than that. You know what I mean? So if Posey believes that, then there's no way he can combat that if somebody brings that up. But if you
disagree.
If you had somebody that didn't believe that and knew the fiber of the city and focused on the positives, I think you could overcome that.
Here's the one thing that I think is a joke.
And I'm going against myself. I got to say this. I heard Stephen A. Smith, he has one of the biggest platforms during the NBA Finals, talk about San Francisco and how clean it wasn't. It jarred me like, damn. And then we heard Barkley talk about it. So am I sitting here saying San Francisco is Disneyland and it doesn't have its issues? Steiny, I'm not. But my point is, get somebody in there, Farhan, and this is Buster included, that can sell the beauty, and some of the stuff that you saw on your walk yesterday about the city. Like, don't tell us you didn't close the deal and then the city's bad too.
Buster Posey basically said, here's what I'm finding out as we go after free agents. There's uneasiness about the city. Is that fair? No. Perception? So part of the Giants' sales campaign now, unfortunately, apparently, has to be, we are not the city that everybody thinks we are. We are not a crime-ridden city that is worse off than L.A. or New York or Chicago. Like that, okay, we've got to turn that around. But to me, Buster Posey just put the rat on the table. And I believe that there is uneasiness about the city. Okay, that's a challenge. Pittsburgh's got, the Pittsburgh Pirates have challenges. Yeah. They got money issues.
But you do understand, you can live in Walnut Creek. Everybody doesn't live in the pit of the city. Like, say something to that.
Every city's got nice areas. Like, of course, I don't understand what that means.
If you play for the Giants, doesn't mean you have to live in San Francisco. That's what that means.
Well, if you live in New York, you have to live in New York City.
No, you don't. You can live in Walnut Creek or Belmont. You know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't, buddy.
Just when you wear a Giant uniform doesn't mean your address is in San Francisco. You play there. Your work is located there, but you can go somewhere else that's not far, like a lot of these athletes do. Come on. You're not chained to the city.
Well, I get it, but that dynamic's the same everywhere, right? Like if Detroit's got a bad reputation, well, of course you don't have to live in Detroit, but maybe people don't want to live like a guy like Ohtani. He doesn't, like, of course he knows that he can live in Atherton, but we're not talking about Atherton. Like every major city's got, you know, really nice areas that they all live in. So maybe what I'm thinking is, who cares? You ain't there anyway. Like you ain't there. Like you. So you're not going to live in the city. If that, he's at least addressing the Posey's at least saying we got a perception problem here in the Bay. We got to fix that. Like I just cannot understand what is wrong with, and I'm not saying it's. I don't know what's wrong with the truth. To me, there's two different things. Is the city a dump? No, the city's not a dump. Is there a perception that San Francisco is worse off than a lot of... Yes, I believe there is that perception out there right now. Okay. Let's acknowledge it and let's turn it around, I think is what Buster Posey's saying. Right?
I'm like Uncle Looney on the YouTube chat, Forest NorCal Credit Union YouTube chat. I mean, where Niner players live, you know, we've never heard a peep out of them, and that was to my earlier point. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you the city doesn't have any ailments, man.
No, and I'm not saying it's better or worse than any other city. I want to deal with. But all I want to deal with is Buster Posey saying that players have a perception of San Francisco that's not doing them any favors, and in fact has perhaps been one of the reasons that a guy doesn't come here.
No, let me give this to you. And I'm not because it's your prerogative. You feel how you feel. I'm just talking about anybody. But would you have an issue if I said, you know what, that sounds like a cop-out in the sense that the problem's not us, it's the city. Because the Giants have been tied to some major free agents over the past, and they haven't closed the deal for whatever reason. You could chalk Correa up; he was going to come. But if somebody said, "Hey, Steiny, I think that's a crocker," you know what? Because when you say it like that, then you're saying, "Oh, it's not the problem's not us; it's the city." Then you'll never Then how do you overcome that?
Right, but that's all very fair.
Bring the mayor in on negotiations because you know she's going to say, oh, the city's great and this and that. But, man.
Guru's right. Players can live wherever they want. Oh, shoot. You can live anywhere, and that's what makes Posey's comments so egregious. Posey didn't rip the city. Posey said we have a perception problem. We have a perception problem here. You think we do. I see my buddies back east, and they make fun of San Francisco, and I'm like, you guys don't get it. Like, you guys buy into all that crap.
I keep going to this. Stephen A. and Barkley were throwing eggs at the city on TV.
Right, and I'll say to Stephen A. Smith, big deal. You walked outside the Four Seasons on Market. That's great, Stephen A. And yeah, there was a couple homeless people.
Yeah.
But hit the pike. You don't know. Right. I've been here 35 years. Yeah. When my buddies back east, is it? You guys are idiots. Because you have fed into this perception, and I'm telling you right now, I've been there 35 years, and I love it.
And we got an all-star game coming.
Who?
The NBA all-star game coming to Chase Center next year.
Yeah, they'll probably take the APEC approach.
Wow, Evan, man. Because I didn't like anything about that. Maybe that should open my eyes.
See, to me, if I'm Buster Posey, to me, not acknowledging that San Francisco may have a perception problem, to me, is burying your head in the sand and not addressing an obstacle that you have to overcome to begin to solve the problem.
But what if Buster and diehard San Franciscans feel like, just say where you're really at, Steiny. Forget the perception. Just say you think that it's a problem.